A sheriff pulled up today at work today when I was outside taking my break and smoking a cigarette. He was there to pick up some foam or some shit. But he got out of his truck and walked over to the bench that's by our door and just sat there and crossed his arms and just didn't do anything, like didn't say anything to me, didn't knock on the door to try and get in, nothing, just sat down. And I'm sitting in my truck like, is something fucking going on?
About to happen?
Yeah,
About to go down?
what's going on here? You know? The shit just, it was weird. But then I got inside and they're like, oh, he's picking up foam. I'm like, for what? Apparently they're building something. I don't know why they need fucking foam, but yeah.
That's pretty strange.
Yeah. It's that shows my blackness. I get really nervous around cops, even when I'm just sitting there smoking a cigarette doing nothing.
Like, you're lucky he didn't look at you. Or did he look at you?
I don't know. I tried to avoid eye contact. You know?
That's safe.
Yeah.
That's safe.
Yeah, I get real submissive around police.
You cuck. You are such a sub for cops. But then again, so is a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So I was bored earlier this afternoon and decided to look up some statistics. And what I found might not surprise you.
Unless you're an asshole.
So we're in June, end of June. The numbers for May, from January to May are in. And there have been 22 cops feloniously killed in this country so far this year.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to guess how many people were killed by cops in May?
Alone?
May alone this year.
200.
Nah.
I looked at your status, so I'm
Yeah,
not going to
I know.
answer this one.
How many? Hold on. Repeat that. How many cops were killed?
How
in
many
May?
civilians were
Oh,
killed by
civilians.
cops in
In
May
May.
alone this
Yeah.
year?
100?
You're closer than Blake. There's 86.
Jesus.
86 people were killed by cops this year in May.
1 month?
Yeah.
1 month.
Yeah.
That's
Over
a
3
lot
times
of
as much
fucking
as the
people,
cops
man.
that have been killed all year so far.
And those are probably the only ones that were reported as police killings.
Yeah.
They probably hid that many too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand why the FBI doesn't track that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, surely you'd want to know, like, how much. Even the military has confirmed kills.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it should be counted as like a confirmed kill,
Yeah.
but they track how many people their soldiers have killed, and if anything, it should be used for a mental health thing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you've seen this much shit. We want to make sure you're still all right for this job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not anything to say, hey, fuck you guys. You guys are doing a bad job, because we already know you're doing a bad job.
Yeah.
We don't need numbers to tell us that, to verify that.
Yeah.
And in 4 years, 216 cops have been killed in line of duty, feloniously. Obviously, you have accidents that happen and shit like that, but accidents happen. And that's 4 years, dude.
Mm-hmm.
4 years.
And
So
we
far,
we had over a quarter of that in a month.
so far, in 5 months this year, 425 people have been killed by police. The population, yes, is a lot bigger than the number of cops.
Mm-hmm.
So of course there's going to be more.
Yeah.
But when you look at us compared to other countries, per 10 million citizens, there is 36 people killed by cops in this country. The next closest is Canada with 6.
6 per 10 million?
6 per 10 million, I think.
Damn.
9, sorry, 10. 10 per 10 million.
Yeah. Which is still, what, like 0.1%?
Of Canada,
Yeah. Some shit like that.
for those numbers being in perspective, the only 2 countries in the entire world that kill more people than us via cop are Brazil and Venezuela.
Well,
Yeah.
Those
considering what's going on there, I could see that.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Their numbers were fucking blew me out of the water. 6,000 people in a month. or a year.
shit.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Oh,
in
I was
a
gonna
year.
say a month.
Yeah, that would have
How
been
the fuck are they sustaining their population at that point?
well, socialism. You just borrow from your governor.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Now you're our people. Yeah, that's. I mean, that's absurd. It's really absurd. There should not be that much death caused by police. You know, and I've been watching that show I was telling you about, the problem areas with Wyatt Cenac, and he talks about the mental health side of it. And you guys remember the LA shootout in '97? The dudes were in full body armor and they robbed a bank and like had their trunk loaded with fully automatic weapons. And it's kind of what started the really heavy militarization of police, because they had like AKs and just a shit ton of bags and bags of ammos, head to toe body armor, and the cops had shotguns and their service revolvers. And that was it, you know. And so they were just completely outgunned out by two people, and they had a gunfight for like something like 3 fucking hours or some shit like that. And the only reason they failed is because cop took a lucky shot, hit one of the dudes in the thumb. So when his AK jammed, he couldn't clear the jam, which is apparently super easy to do, but he didn't have use of his thumb. And so he ended up shooting himself. And then the other guy tried to steal a truck, but the dude whose truck he's tried to steal grabbed the keys before he took off out of it. And so he got in a shootout with cops, and one of the cops dropped his magazine and shot the dude in the ankles when he realized he could see his feet, and they just let him bleed out on the street after that. But one of the guys that was in that shootout has had severe mental health problems since then. And so Wyatt was talking to him about it, and he was saying, he's like, there's such a stigma with cops about going and seeing a therapist, or, you know, because the department is supposed to provide therapy if they discharge their service weapon in almost any way. I don't even think they have to kill somebody. Just if they shoot somebody, they're supposed to go talk to a therapist. But there's such a stigma against it because they're so quick to pull those officers off of the front lines and put them on desk duty. And
I mean, as they should be.
yeah, but the cops don't want that to happen. They want to be on the streets, and that's why they avoid it. But there's like every cop he talked to in that episode, they were talking about how it's rampant depression, PTSD. You know, like one of the guys was from Oklahoma and he had shot and killed one person. And he said since then, he's like, I'll wake up at night, 3 o'clock in the morning, and just have fucking nightmares about the shit, you know? And if you think that there's just, I think he talked to 4 different cops about it. One was a union head and the other 2 were former or active duty. And if you think just those 4 people are struggling with it, how many in the greater departments are having severe mental problems that they just can't handle the stress of the job, and how that's escalating things that should be like a simple traffic stop. You should never have to discharge your service weapon at a simple traffic stop, period. You know, and I think that's part of the reason they're having such senseless killings in these situations, is they're so fucking just stressed out that the slightest little thing, they're ready to pop off, you know?
Do they make them take stress tests?
I don't think so.
No.
Like I think you should have to be able to pass one before you're given a gun.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you know, you are fully mentally there, instead of as soon as you see something or feel like you know you're going to be in danger, boom, grab that gun and start killing somebody. Like, you have to be able to think about those things, and some people can't do that.
No. But and that's the thing too, is like in the heat of the situation, like how quick they are to jump to the gun as opposed to the taser or mace or anything else. Because he went to all the first season was filmed way before George Floyd. I think it was after Philandro Castro, but before George
Philando Castile.
Philando Castile, whatever. Sorry. I
Fidel
butchered it.
Castro's younger brother.
Yeah, exactly. But so he went to like a suburb of St. Paul, and they were doing this like community outreach shit. Fuck you guys. Okay, I can hear you laughing over there. But they were doing this like community outreach program, and they were supposed to be on the up and up. They hadn't had any incidents in forever. And then right after they got done filming, they had one where this chick, She looked like she was high on something, and she locked herself in a van and was holding a steak knife. And the cops were talking about, well, if she comes out with a knife, we'll get the rubber bullets or the taser or, mace her. And as they're sitting there talking about it, something in the van catches fire. Like she lit a fire in the back of the van. And so they're like, come on, get out. Drop the knife. The second she steps out of the car with the knife, they shoot and kill her. So it was like they were prepping for her coming out with the knife, but everything changed once shit actually started going down. And they immediately went to the gun instead of the rubber bullets, the taser, the mace, anything else. And this girl was, woman, she's not a girl, but she was, I think they said she was like 95 pounds. Like she looked like a tweaker. She looked like she was high on something and she just looked like shit. Like, and there's 4 giant fucking cops standing around talking about using the less lethal tactics that could have easily overpowered her, and still they shot and killed her. You know, and it's one of those things where it's like, even when they tried, their first gut reaction is still to go straight for the gun, for the gun.
They don't have training. When I was doing jiu-jitsu and shit down at Waveman, there was his name Carlos in town, one of the police. He was in there, and he's been doing jiu-jitsu for a while, and I believe he probably handles himself well because he was fucking me up. But we had this hypo come in from out of town 1 week or a couple weeks, highway patrolman.
Oh, okay.
And I rolled with him a couple times, and he was having troubles with me. Like, this is a trained cop, and he was probably your size-ish and had a lot of weight on me, but he was struggling with me, and I'm not a strong dude. So you got to think, like, that guy, that hypo gets in a scuffle with somebody, he's probably fucked.
Yeah.
These guys aren't trained. And then, like, everything's escalated. Always. It's never, like, talked down to a
like
calmer,
in the movies.
Yeah.
Like you see in the movies.
Yep. Like, half these cops probably can't even talk to their wife without it getting escalated, and then they're supposed to do it with a stranger. Like,
God damn it, bitch! You burnt the roast beef again.
it's just the whole thing's fucked up.
Yeah.
It wasn't built right.
And that was another thing he's talking about, how like their mental health training is 4 to 5 days. Most spots it's 4 fucking days.
That's good.
And he compared that to like psychologists and all these different areas that take 5-7 years of training or schooling to go through. And because apparently LAPD has what they call the SMART. It stands for something, but it's their SMART cops. I don't even know what
RoboCop
the is.
Yeah.
No,
It's ICOP.
but so it's like they have the stereotypical LAPD with the cop uniform and the belt and all that shit, and this dude's in some fucking khakis and a black shirt that has like LAPD embroidered on it, not even a badge.
So like less threatening.
Yeah, but they're actual trained mental health professionals that they try to go out on calls when there's like somebody who has schizophrenia or is bipolar and they're having an episode. They get the call once the initial squad gets there and tries to assess what's exactly is going on. They call them in to kind of try and de-escalate and lower the chance of something bad happening.
I think the amount of cops that show up is kind of ridiculous too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you have one person. There's no reason 8 cops need to be there.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
only going to make that one person freak out even more.
Oh yeah.
And act erratic. Like, I don't blame them for acting that way because it's pure fear at that point.
Especially given the reputation that has been growing.
Yep.
Like, one cop can be reasonable, but when you got a fucking mob of them, one fucks up, they're all just gonna fucking pile on and fucking just do their shit. I watched a video of this dude who got stopped by an undercover in New York, in Brooklyn, I want to say. He was on the side. They were standing on the sidewalk. Dude, undercover was holding him, not telling him what the fuck he stopped him for. These fucking 4 or 5 cops come running up. Dude's just standing there.
It was dark nighttime.
Yeah, this dude's just standing there, mind you, not being hostile, not doing anything. These cops run the fuck up, grab him, throw him to the ground, start kicking him, punching him and shit. It's like some shit you'd see on Family Guy.
Yeah.
but it's real fucking life.
Yeah, it's like he's getting jumped.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. They're just a fucking gang.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what it's the gang mentality.
Yeah.
And it's I don't understand it. I've never been a part of a gang. I've never beat anybody up.
Yeah.
So I don't understand the need to fucking 7 dudes on one guy.
Yeah.
With everybody kicking him, punching him, stepping on his fucking hands.
Especially when, like, if a cop gets behind me, I'm looking in my rearview mirror like fucking scared.
No shit.
So
yeah.
then you get pulled over, and now there's 3 or 4 more fucking cars.
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How am I not supposed to run?
Yeah.
They remind me of the seagulls of Nemo. Finding Nemo. Mine? Mine?
Yeah.
It's I understand if one shows up. That's fine. Your partner or whatever.
Well, and even in a situation with like a domestic disturbance, or there's a chance that somebody has a knife, I can understand a couple of squad cars pulling up. But the minor things that
Traffic stops and shit.
yeah, where there's 4 cops
Out of here.
and that is not necessary. And I understand that in certain situations, that simple traffic stop can turn into a high-speed chase, a gunfight, whatever. But those are so small and so far between that they treat everybody like they're
Guilty?
they're guilty.
Already.
Yeah, and it's and a lot of them are apparently trained to treat civilians like an opposing force. Like you need to be ready to take out the enemy. We're the enemy to a lot of
It's
these
like
cops.
they're at war with us
With
every
us.
day.
Yeah. And they criminalize everything. So if you're not wearing a seatbelt, you're a criminal. Like, really?
It's not a crime. It's just a fine.
Yeah, but you're still a criminal. You're breaking a law.
But that turns into something.
yeah.
Yeah, like a drug stop.
Yeah.
Like I see those little ticky tack shit all the time, but it's
Oh, yeah, like when it says guy pulled over for busted or like malfunctioning light.
driving in the left lane.
Yeah, busted with 74 pounds. Really? Like, you've been watching this dude for months. Like, quit trying to lie to us. Dude.
Yeah.
Any small infraction can lead to a kingpin being busted.
I got searched in Georgia because my tag light was out. The little low light that shines on your fucking license
Did
plate.
they smell weed?
No.
I got
No,
pulled
they just
over for my tag light being out in the last vehicle I was driving. Yeah. And
I got
was,
pulled.
because the cop told me because I was in a bad neighborhood and he pulled me over. I was dropping Haley off. She was in the truck with me. Yeah. She was
Yeah,
about
I
6
got-
years old at that time.
I got pulled over for a tag light in my own park or my own driveway.
Really?
Yeah, and it was a lady cop, and she was training some dude. And I get out of the car, and she's like, "Sir, get back in the car!" like she stumbled, and I was just like, What's going on? Why'd you pull me over?" She's like, "Sir, get back in the car." And then my mom comes running out of the house. She's like, "Ma'am, please go back into your house." And I was just like, all this over a fucking tag light?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like,
And that's what I'm saying.
1
They-
in the
Even
morning,
right there.
but still.
Escalated.
yeah.
Oop.
they
Already
imme-
on 7.
And they're immediately treating you like a criminal for a fucking tag light.
Right.
For something that, at worst, you should get a fix-it ticket for. With the second you fix it,
Oh, I
that's
did.
shit's gone.
No,
you know?
definitely not worse.
Like,
for
that's
sure.
the worst case scenario. But you were a criminal when she yelled at you to get back in your car. She wasn't thinking of you being a civilian who had a minor infraction. You were a criminal.
What am I gonna do? Fucking rush her and give her an herbo to the face?
You look pretty fucking graceful, bro. You look like you could have pounced on her like a cheetah.
I bet you the guy that she was training, he's like, "Damn, I didn't want to fucking. I hope this doesn't escalate.
Yeah,
I ain't trying to deal with this bullshit."
Yeah. You just start talking in your Devo voice. Get all deep.
Honestly, if I was a cop, I would be the guy that was like, I'd pull the cop officer and be like, "Yo, chill the fuck out. Like, this shit isn't necessary."
Yep.
I know I'd get fired for it, but still.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing is I think a lot of them don't do that because it's it's a club, and the second they start trying to go against the club, they're out of the club, you know. And so it's then you got to question: is my partner going to have my back if I'm telling him to chill the fuck out when he's trying to escalate every situation? You
Like
know?
in the Chappelle thing, he was talked about that guy that did that, and he ended up getting fired. So then he's like, "Fuck you guys," and fucking. What did he do? Get in a van and he just started sniping people, sniping cops left and right.
Yeah,
This was probably
ex-military dude.
Yeah, it was like what 9-10 years ago, probably.
Trying to do the right thing.
Yeah,
And he's like, "Oh, okay. I'll get you, motherfuckers."
I got you, motherfuckers. King Kong ain't got shit on me. There's this dude. I can't think of his name right now, but he's a ex-Marine who became a Baltimore police officer. And
Is he the one that was on Rogan?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't remember
Coleman.
his name.
Yeah.
Ronnie Coleman.
No,
that's
it's
that's the bodybuilder.
it's like it's Michael something, I think.
I know who you're talking about. I can't
Yeah.
remember his name either.
Anyway, he was talking about how when excuse me, the difference between being a
Great
police
concept.
officer and being a Marine, and how the Marines had rules of engagement they had to follow. So when he got into the Baltimore police force, he was like, "What the fuck is
he had
going
to
on here?"
unlearn things.
Yeah, and he didn't essentially. But he was like, "What? Why the fuck are y'all doing this?
Yeah.
Like, why does this work like this? I don't understand." And now he's an activist for police reform.
Yeah, I remember listening to him talk and just being flabbergasted.
Michael Sam.
Michael Sam. Yeah, I was gonna say that was the gay football
Yeah, I
player.
thought it was a gay guy. Hey man, we love gay people, so
It's just a qualifier. We weren't judging him on his sexual orientation.
Yeah, just wanted to clarify which football player he
Yeah,
was.
'cause if
since
we just
there's
said, oh,
only
he-
one gay football player,
If he was the football player, nobody would know who the fuck we were talking about. But yeah, it's fascinating hearing a lot of, because there's a lot of former cops on each episode of
Michael Wood.
Michael Wood. There you go. On that show, and most of them are long fucking retired. One of them is against a lot of the police reform and the kind of ideas that they're talking about, and you can tell he's still very pro cop. But the older ones, there's one guy that looks like he's probably in his 60s or 70s, and he talks about it a lot. He's like, man, like shit needs to change. You know, it's now that he's so far out of it, he can admit that something is broken and needs to be fixed. You know, whereas the guy that's still pro cop looks like he's maybe in his 40s, so he's probably still fresh out of being a cop. You know,
Probably flies a thin blue line flag in his fucking front yard. It's like no matter what, if somebody's upset, like if you're in a bar, there's a bar fight or whatever, you're not going to go, "Hey, stop it," and expect them to calm down.
Yeah.
Because you're not calm.
yeah.
You need to be calm.
And that's the thing is, like, if you're a cop, you're automatically dealing with everybody on the worst day of their lives.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, seriously, you're not.
you signed up for that
Yeah.
shit.
And you're not getting called to a scene of a fucking surprise birthday party or some shit. You know, like that doesn't happen when you're a cop. You know, it's always something bad, and you need to be prepared for it. You know, and unfortunately, the people that can and would be prepared for it don't want to be cops.
It's crazy. Cops are held to a high standard when it comes to protecting you, but when they don't protect you, then all of a sudden that standard just goes out the fucking window.
Like, well, they got a dangerous job. Could you imagine if telemarketers were able to kill somebody because they were fucking rude to them?
Yeah.
Like, there would be so many
God.
murders.
Yes, there would be a lot of
And a
those.
lot of Indian immigrants, but
That was problematic.
yeah.
Also, slightly true.
Hello, this is Frank. Oh, it's
Bitch,
not.
you ain't Frank.
You are not Frank.
Yeah.
You can't fool me. I read not a quick article, but it's an article about what Minneapolis is talking about doing for like police alternative. And from what I understand, they're just wanting to do like a safety and something or other bureau of sorts
Yeah.
that doesn't have any quote unquote police. Like you have people that can manage crises and have the head of that bureau be somebody who's not a law enforcement officer. So that way they're not beholden to the police unions, and the police unions aren't fucking us over by trying to get cops paid murder leave.
Yeah. Where the police department is eating up 60% of a city's fucking funding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of gross seeing those numbers where how like the police funds take up like the next 4 things in line, and
That's
it's
how you know they
housing
become-
and schooling and shit like that. Like the needs of the actual citizens of that city are just completely fucking trumped by the police.
That mirrors America. Look at our budget.
It's true.
Our military budget's fucking out of control.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got this giant-ass military budget. What are you going to do? Give those guns and equipment to your enemies? No, you're going to give them to a police station,
Yeah.
which is how they get all that shit. It's
Yeah.
all military surplus. And for what fucking reason?
Yeah.
The war on drugs?
Yeah.
How many of us are fucking drug dealers?
Which is a
That they
racist war to
created.
begin. Yeah.
Like, people don't put shit in context. They just look at everything in a fucking vacuum. Like, this cop killed it. Well, why did this guy listen? Well, if you were harassed by cops, well, why doesn't he listen to cops all the time? Do you listen to somebody when you're harassed all the fucking time?
Right. And it's funny, the people saying it are the ones that will get in cops' faces and scream at them.
Yeah.
But because they're white, nothing fucking happens.
Hey, but bro, white privilege isn't a thing.
No, it doesn't
you need to
exist. I'm reading this book called So You Want to Talk About Race. I'm not even going to try to say her name because I will butcher the fuck out of it.
Fidel Castro's younger sister.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to try to say it.
Fidelia.
Fidelia. But it's like Iojima Oahu.
So
It's-
She
African.
fucking Indian?
She's clearly white
Yeah, clearly white.
and a man.
Just blonde, blue eyes, white girl.
That's problematic, man.
But no, it's an interesting read because she talks about how every time like a small act of racism happens against her, somebody's like, "Oh, that's not that bad," and she's like, "It's." She compares it to like when she was in an abusive relationship and the dude would call her stupid all the time, and she's like, she would get on him about her calling him stupid, and he's like, "Well, I called you stupid this one time. It's not that big a deal." She's like, "It's not the one time. It's all of it collectively." So that's the fucking problem. And we get so hyper focused on these one things. And it's like, no, this is happening every day, every fucking hour, somewhere. It's the collective of it all that's the problem. It's not this one little fucking microaggression that happened today, right now, in this instance that I'm calling you out for. It's all of it collectively, you know? And I don't think people can comprehend or understand that. And so when we talk about like the systematic racism and all that shit, there's so much more than that surface layer that we're starting to skim, you know. And yes, those are big fucking instances like George Floyd, and I'm not going to say his name again, but Tamir Rice, and you know, just all of them, Sandra Bland, all of them are just the stuff that leaks through into the public's eye. But there's shit happening every fucking day. Like something that I didn't even comprehend is when they talk about problem areas, how they're going to go and fix crime in problem areas.
Black areas.
That's exactly the neighborhood they're talking about.
Yeah.
It's never a white neighborhood that's a problem area.
No, even though there's like spousal abuse and shit going on, probably.
And
And
meth.
high drug usage.
And meth.
Yeah, the
Shitload
whole
of meth.
suburbs on meth and
Yeah.
Adderall. And,
You know, I've watched Weeds. I know.
yeah. Fucking soccer moms all got sunglasses on, geeked
fuck
out.
yeah.
Geek the fuck out.